With some eyes you'll be staring out through the window
And then that will
on
lock in
the
there.
day.
Just beautiful.
I'll be another waking shadow cast on the covers of your bed.
Contrary to popular belief, there will not be 162 episodes in the Poor Man's Carpenter's Bench. The major components are done, and today we're going to start assembling. There's 7 major components to the whole bench. We have over there the tabletops. We have the 2 aprons here. We have the legs, and we have the bottom of the tool well. So what we're working on today is going to be right here. These are the skirts. The skirts are going to mount to the legs. The skirts are what gives the bench its super strength, its super rigidity. So what we'll have to do here is we're going to dado in the legs here with a wedge lock system that will allow us to take this bench apart. As you can see, the bench is pretty good size. It's 6 foot by 32 inches or so, and a very small door. We would never get it out of there if I ever wanted to move it. So this way we can break it down into components that I could take it out in pieces. So let's get started. So we're going to lay out our dados. So the legs are actually going to sit 9 inches inside the edges. So there'll be 9 inches of overhang on the tabletop. So we'll mark our 9 inches here with our knife, and then we'll transfer these around and lay down the dados. So I want to take a moment and kind of explain how the bench is going to work and how it's laid out. So you can see here it's sitting on its side, and here is the apron, and here's the bottom of the tabletop. So what we have here is we need to do house this leg into this about 5/8 of an inch. Right here you can see. Here's the other side. Here's the corner of the bench. 9 inches of overhang. So if we were to look at it, orient it properly, it'd be like that. So I'm laying these out now, and we'll chisel these out, finish them off with our poor man's router, and then I'll show you how the wedge system works. So before I get started on this dado, I've got one here I want to show you kind of what we're doing. You can see here, this is our leg, and then this is housed down there 3/4 of an inch into the skirt. Alright, we're going to use one of nature's most clever inventions, the wedge, to hold this tight in here. Again, this apron is what's going to keep that bench from racking back and forth, going back and forth. Like on timber framing, we use a knee brace. We don't have that here, so this apron is going to be a rock solid member that will take care of all that shear issue. So I've got here a small wedge that I've just cut out of a piece of scrap, 1 inch to 1.5 inches. There's a 1/2 inch taper in it, and so this will fit right in here, just like that. Flush, 3/4 of an inch, flush there you can see with the dado. And then here's just a piece of hickory, just a little scrap there, that just got a 10-degree bevel on it, or angle, and that will hold that in there, making sure that the screw is towards the back. I got a beautiful little brass screw recessed in there, so that the weight of this, so this is always wanting to push down. So as this bench works, as this leg works back and forth, as you're working it and planing and hammering on it, that wedge is going to continue to drop down further and further, and just the more you move it, the more it'll tighten itself up. The reason for this is, as I said earlier, this way we can take it apart. We can simply spin this out of here, and I will be putting a lag bolt once we get it upright in the back, just to hold it all together. We can take this out. We can take a mallet and remove those wedges, and simply disassemble the tops from the sides. So here you can see is our dado laid out, 90 degrees here, and then a 1/2 inch of angle. So this is like 5 inches, 5 inches to 5.5 though. So a quick and easy way to do this is we have our knife walls established here and here, and with a 3/4 inch chisel, just like we do before with our cuts, is start chipping this out. Once you get that first section chipped out there, I've been using the 1-inch chisel because it just goes a little bit quicker. We'll lay it right alongside that knife wall there. Make sure we're straight up and down. And give a good strike and a cut. And we'll make sure that we're right inside there. Strike and a cut. Now we can go back in here a little bit further back. And continue this process on down till we get to our 3/4 inch mark down here. So you can see here that I've chiseled and just kept on chiseling and working that side down until we're just right above, maybe 1/8 above of our knife line. So we'll go over here on this side and do the exact same thing.
Well, this is real talk. This is non-stop. It is looped now, tongue and mind, played off the sidewalk, straight to your boombox. How it travels from ear to memory.
So with both sides removed just above the line there, it makes it really simple to get the rest of this material out. Now unfortunately I have a big old knot right there. I had one the same on the other side, which is going to complicate things, make it a little more difficult, but it'll still work. It just won't break quite as clean. With these sharp chisels, cutting this dado out is really, doesn't take that long. I'd say probably have about 15 minutes cutting that out. You can see I've got the knot right there, but I'm just kind of using a push cut and just paring this down. We want to get this really close, and then we'll get our poor man's router to finish it up. So this knot you can see here is very, very hard. So we'll just use the mallet and cut through that. So once we get the bulk of that material all worked out with our chisel, we'll take our poor man's router here and just finish it up. One thing that I hadn't considered when I made these, laid out these tenons was I can't have this one sticking out because this has got to be housed in that dado. So the top one should be cut. So that's not a big deal. We'll just take our shark saw here. I like the shark saw because it's bendable and I can kind of rest it flat on here. And we'll just trim that off flush. So the saw gets it pretty close, but we can just really get it flush, finish it off with our hand plane. Just take a little bit off there. There, now we're perfectly flush. So now with our leg installed and pushed hard to the outside of the dado there, we can use our square here, our T-square, and determine exactly, we'll just mark on here what that angle is. So I'm just using some scrap pieces of fur that I found here. We can just transfer an angle on here. So I'm just going to use the plane to knock this off. I've spent so many hours with the plane and I've sharpened it and learned to use it now that it's really an incredibly versatile tool. Little jobs like this, it can just make short work of it right there. So I got my pencil line on there. You can see right there, just in no time I worked that down. So here's the first dado that I cut. The wedge that I showed you, you can see it fits in there nicely and it's flush here to the sides. Where this material here is a little bit thick. So we'll take this over and just plane this down about 1/16 of an inch with the spoke shave until it fits in there just flush. So we don't want to take too much off here, just a little bit, just 1/16 of an inch or so. So the plane's a little, it might be a little much, so we'll just use the spoke shave here. So I've got the piece that I cut it off here, and I switched them so the vise can hold them square, because we've got that taper on there. The vise closes flat, but with the taper it'll pinch on one side. So by putting them like this, we can we can hold it securely in there. And I'll just set this up a little bit higher, a little bit above the vise. We don't want to hit the metal vise with our spoke shave. So let's see how it fits here. Nice and tight, perfectly flush. Again, that will just work down. As I work that bench, it'll just work down and just get tighter and tighter and tighter until there's no place for it to go anymore. Now for our little keeper here, as I said, there's just a 10 degree angle on that, and then we'll lay it out here. 3/4 of an inch. I'm going to go to the trouble to make something nice. I like to make sure everything is square. Alright, so what we want to do is we're going to use those nice brass screws. We want them to recess in there. Always we want to drill a pilot hole. So I have a small 1/8 inch bit that I keep on here just for that type of thing. We don't want to drill into our apron there. So we'll drill it through just this piece here. Alright, so we want that screw to sit in there flush, so we're going to chamfer it. So this is just a little bit right there, you can see, to countersink for that screw. It just is a clean, nice look and the proper way to do it. I love using these beautifully cut bronze screws with these Sheffield, England footprint screwdrivers, these cabinet screwdrivers. You know, this is just what they're made for. So we'll, you can see that slip down in there. That snaps into position just nicely. It's going to hold tight against there. And we can tighten this up. And there we have a really good, strong keeper.